I hope that you enjoy our videos, and please press like. It'll help us a lot. One of the reasons I'm enjoying making these videos is that more and more people are listening in, and we thank you for that very much. I don't know if I've gotten into it in great detail, but a large part of my background has to do with history and geography. I'm fascinated by geography, and that ties into my request that more of you tell me where you're from, what country or what state in the country are you from in your comments, because this is an area that is of great interest to me. Uh, as those of you who've read some of our newsletters know, I have long had a positive feeling toward Aspen Group, which is partly because they are very strong in, if you want to get a nursing degree, as thousands of people do, the place to get it with both good quality and low cost is Aspen Group as a for-profit education company. And on the other hand, they've had, starting in 2020, some, I guess we could call them massive bureaucratic problems when, as a result of their ability to pass their students, to get a high percentage of the students in their nursing degree programs to pass was damaged. So the percent of students passing their courses and getting their nurse degrees dropped from, I think, up in the 80 to 90% area down to temporarily 60 to 70%. And this caused the Arizona Nursing Board, a bureaucracy that, in my opinion, has problems with what's in the best interest of the nursing profession, put pressure on Aspen Groups to change what they had done, to admit they had made mistakes in terms of how they dealt with their students, whereas in fact this was totally a matter of the epidemic, if you can call it that, impacting everybody's ability to graduate nursing students, and therefore, to their credit, the management of the company decided, no, we're going to hang in there, and in doing so, they had to report losses. They had to report suits from disgruntled shareholders. They had to deal with more bureaucratic entanglements, including with the federal government, on where their money was going to be found or kept. All of that they had to deal with, and the stock, which had been a growth stock selling at several dollars a share, went all the way down to 5 cents a share. During the last 3 years, we've been saying this is a very good buy. It's very cheap. We like what the management is doing. They've got a lot of problems to deal with, but we think they're going to make it through. Probably the biggest thing was they ran out of money, what we're able to find at a high interest rate, like 15%. I think it was $15 million to keep the company going. So part of what I do in that kind of a situation is say, okay, I know enough about the fundamentals and enough about the uniqueness of how positive their long-term outlook is to say, I'm going to hang in there. And even though in some cases, this has been part of my speculative career, it might be 2 or 3 years until you get the payoff. But that is what we did, and fortunately, I was right in terms of foreseeing that the management did, in my opinion, one of the most extraordinarily beneficial processes for the shareholders of turning this whole company around to where, in the most recent 3 quarters, they have actually gotten back into making a positive cash flow. I think on an annual basis, their EBITDA is up to like 7 million. For the company, the revenues, which had been going down because of having to shut down a major product for allowing people with only a high school degree to get their initial nursing degree, called a pre-licensure product. They had to knock that all down with revenues going down, and now that also, perhaps in the next year, is going to be reinstituted now that things are doing well. So the stock, which, as I mentioned, was down at 5 cents, is in the last few months up sixfold to more than 30 cents a share, and I think there is more to come. And what's interesting about this is that this has happened before in my speculative history, particularly with a company you may remember called Circuit City back in the 1980s. And so this is part of what I've learned, and it's in contrast with many people who will tend, if they make a little money, let's say they buy some stock at 5 cents and it goes to 7 cents, and say, boy, I think I take my profit. It is never the way to major success in the market or a major surge. And so I would counsel you to, if you're reading the newsletters, take a look at Aspen Group, but also take a look at the idea that when the big money is made not from buying at 5 and 6, not from short-term trading, but rather from looking at something where, most importantly, I think you look at fundamentals where there are two critical factors. The two critical factors are very solid CEO, and secondly, something that is unique that the company provides that no one else can do as well, that allows for the potential for another, to use a couple names, Apple on the one side or perhaps NVIDIA on the other. If you want a copy of my book, The Speculator's Mosaic, just check below, or it can also be bought on Amazon.